Ben Neff, welcome to the Pre-Construction Podcast.
Gareth, thank you for having me.
Look at that, man. Fresh off the course yesterday in the Pre-Construction Ryder Cup.
Yeah,
the
fresh.
cup is sitting here in front of us. Who will be lifting the cup? So it hasn't been released yet. We're going to be announcing it today, probably in an hour and a half at a happy hour. Europe or the US, we will find out. Ben played US, I played Europe. It was a good game.
It was a great match.
So let's go from golf to turf construction. But before we get into Motz, let's talk about your background. Education first. What was the thinking behind University of Kentucky Business Administration?
So initially I had set out and planned to start my own business. I didn't know if it was going to be construction, but the family had been in construction my entire life. It's in my blood, like it's ingrained. It doesn't leave you. I battled against that for some reason until it was like, I'm going into construction. So it came a point in time that I made the pivot and moved to Northern Kentucky University to obtain my construction management and construction technology degrees, which set me on a path forward. While I was getting the degrees, I was actually working in the field in the trades, commercial industrial construction. I started like most laborers do, with a shovel and a broom, and they each had a name. They were my best friends. My first 3 weeks on a construction site was with a 90-pound jackhammer, affectionately named Thunder Thor. Welcome to construction, right there.
I honestly don't think if you can't use a brush and a shovel at the same time, you shouldn't be allowed in construction. I think that should be part of the interview process on all jobs, even office.
Those two tools alone will build the most character out of anybody.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you could almost tell something about someone on how they use a shovel and a brush at the same time. I love it. So that was brilliant. You pivoted into construction management at Northern Kentucky University. After that was finished, 2007, what was the plan?
So I had finished my degree. I was still working in the field for the family-owned business, Radius Construction. I had moved into a superintendent role there, was bringing buildings out of the ground. They needed somebody to come in and take over the pre-engineered metal buildings department there. So they specialize in pre-engineered metal buildings. So you think, your manufacturing facility type construction. And so I took crews and traveled around building pre-engineered metal buildings for a few years, moving into a project management estimator role. As we approached the end of 2007, they decided they wanted to make it its own entity and give it its own kind of business structure, which was Triangle Metal Building Services. Then the economy collapsed in 2008, so I battled a startup company for 4 years. It actually made money,
Nice.
But they decided to roll it up in 2012 when I went back into Radius's project management and estimating arm, doing more industrial focused work. Picked up safety director for a while for them and was really moving them along. Was hitting a space where I knew I was ready to transition. I was hungry. I was looking for something else, like what's going to be the next step. And here comes Motz. Motz cold calls me and says, "Hey, you have any interest in coming over here and building an estimating department?" And I had no idea who Motz was at the time. And so I'm like furiously looking up Motz and learning about them. I'm like, oh man, they build sports fields? Like, I love sports. Like, that is amazing. Talk about impacting communities, right? Like, everybody is playing sports. I was like, yes, I'm in. Let's go.
Wow. What about timing as well? Amazing timing.
It was incredible.
You knew you were at a kind of a crossroads. You needed to transition, fresh challenge. That's good.
Yeah. So dove right into, went from vertical construction to horizontal construction, and got all the hard lessons in civil that I didn't know I needed, and started building out a real estimating team for them. And over the course of the last 8.5 years, building it into a pre-construction department. So full design services, full estimating services. We got a business development arm all tied to that, and it just continues to grow.
Amazing. For anybody that doesn't know anything about Motz, what's the history? What's the background?
Great question, Gareth. So Motz has been in business under the same ownership since 1977. until this year, when we've gone 100% ESOP. So we are 100% employee owned now. 48 years new, and now we're, all the employees have a stake in the game to continue moving the needle. We're a certified evergreen company, which comes with, a paced growth mindset and pragmatic innovation, like running at the forefront of everything that we do. And so Motz, they started out as a landscaping company and tracked through the late 70s and 80s in that manner, and they started getting into sports late 80s and early 90s with some projects. I'm trying to think. Super Bowl, I think, was one of the first fields that they did down in Miami.
Wow.
Yeah, so our founder, Joe Motz, he was all in. Like, he wanted all the...
Straight into the deep end.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Wow.
But he's also a person who really invests in relationships. And so it's an industry built on relationships. And when you're talking about sports fields where there's a living product, like, you really want to trust the people that are delivering that for you.
Yeah.
And Joe set out a good pathway there. So follow into the early 2000s, and the second generation of synthetic turf fields starts to come online. And we pick up that arm and we kind of transition from more of this natural grass aspect into synthetic turf. And that really tracks for the next 20 years, right? And just, in the last 5 to 7 years, we've gotten back into the natural grass range as well.
Nice.
And part of doing that was we brought to market a product that we call AirPat, and it's a vacuum ventilation system for your major league type field. So think, MLB, MLS, type fields where you have a sophisticated groundskeeper and staff on site that need specialized tools to help with moisture management, have the ability to sub-irrigate and put air in and take air out, draw water out. You can build shallow profiles and move water through a system real quick with this. It's very high tech.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I would never have thought that these fields are going through such a mechanical and technical, rigorous process. And when you talk about AirPat, is that like patented by you guys? Is that your
Yes,
product?
that's our proprietary product that we take to market. There's a handful of other products out in the market that are similar. But yeah, that's one. It first went into Truist Park for the Atlanta Braves. That was the first AirPat system install. The most recent one is going into the Sacramento River Cats field out here in California. That just came online. It's where the Oakland Athletics are playing for the season while their new stadium is being built in Las Vegas.
Wow, unbelievable. Now talk to me, that's a ventilation system. Talk to me about what's above that, because you mentioned the transition from natural to synthetic to now. Is there like a hybrid option, or what's going into these MLS? I'm saying MLS because I'm a soccer man.
Sure. Yeah, there's a big push right now with hybrid products, and they've been around. And the idea there is, it gives you structural integrity in the root zone. It allows you to play more frequently on a pitch, right? Which we all know, like, you have a massive stadium, it's got to generate revenue.
Yeah.
The more events you can host, make it more impactful, right? And so you got a synthetic fiber, and there's lots of different ways that they go about bringing it into the system. There's you can stitch it in, you can put it into a mat like they would carpet, and you take it out to the sod farm and you actually grow the sod right on top of it on the sod farm, then harvest it and bring it and put it in place.
Wow. What's the ratio of natural and synthetic? Is it literally 50-50? Or?
It's not quite that much. Of course, there's variation, but the whole goal is that you wouldn't notice that there's synthetic fiber there. Once the natural the stand is in place, like you wouldn't know that the synthetic's even there. You'd have to get down and like pluck one out to know. But the root structure of the grass grows into this, and it makes an incredibly strong, firm, fast, playable pitch for these pros, and it's extremely safe.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing stuff. I that kind of stuff I love geeking out on. But let's go back now, because you mentioned the maintenance of once they're in, the technical aspect, the sensors involved, the coordination with the maintenance team or the grounds team. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so these systems are very high end. You want to make sure that you're leaving the end user with a tool that they understand and they know how to use it to get the most out of their playing surface. I mean, we're talking about a living product, right? Like, it's got to stay alive. You know, you can't let it get diseases and various things. So they're keeping an eye on that themselves. And they're applying, you know, fertilizers and different applications to keep things at bay, right? And then a tool like AirPat can come in and really help them with the moisture management. You know, if they need to hold certain moisture level because the weather pattern is going to be dry for the next 14 days, they can irrigate up top, let it settle in, and then you don't have to turn on the vacuum right away. But if they need to get that moisture evacuated, they can flip on the vacuum and draw it right out through the drainage system. It goes into an air-water separator vault and then downstream offsite.
Wow, unbelievable. That's
and with that so how they're checking on like oxygen readings and moisture readings, and they're doing that with sensor technology that's all tied to the system. So the system has a control unit, right? And it has an app on your phone, so the groundskeeper's got an app. We got an app, we're all keeping an eye on things. The sensors are giving us the data to tell us, okay, it's running like it's supposed to, or hey, are you seeing this out on your site? Like we're able to get real interactive with the groundskeepers and make sure that everything stays operating the way it's supposed to.
Highly technical. Now, the way you're talking there, and the way I would have thought in a simple form is, you come in, you put the pitch down and you leave, but the amount of work involved, where it be utilities, drainage, like it's a huge amount of work. And you actually deal directly with the owner and almost GC some projects?
Yeah, so a lot of different ways that we could deliver this, right? Depends on the scenario. Sometimes we sell the product to an adjacent field building competitor in the market, and we'll install the mechanical components, right, and help them with the field components they need, but they might carry the contract. So it'd be a sub to a competitor in that scenario. Other scenarios, we're a trade partner to a CM who's building a new stadium, right? They bring us on board real early on. We've positioned the value of the system to the owner, the end user, and they're telling the CM, like, this is who we're going to go with, like, get on board with the Motz. We're going to work together. They're going to iron out the details of the field. You know, we're going to have all these adjacent, like, electrical and mechanical componentry coming into a space. So, like, we got to figure out lines of delineation, and, you know, so there's no scope gap. And we'll deliver it that way. There's also where we have an owner who has an existing facility in place, and it's like, I'm ready to upgrade. I'm ready for an AirPat system, or I'm ready for AirPat and hydronic heating, you know, and like, okay, Motz is going to come in. We have technical project managers on staff that live and breathe this every day, and they're going to develop that system with a single control panel and really, you know, give you this complete tool that is going to really make your life as a groundskeeper easier to manage your field.
It's a no-brainer, honest to God.
Yeah.
And then the next stage of it, or what's the evolution look like? And you're director of pre-construction. I mean, what's the next step? Is there new products? Is there new features? Is there different geographical areas? Because I know we talked about the delivery methods. We've spoken to a lot of specialty contractors, and working with a CM firm or an owner can be quite difficult. How important is the delivery method for you?
It's important, but it's also recognizing, like, how do we bring the most value to this team of people that are trying, the end goal is to deliver this stadium or field or product that meets these requirements. So it's kind of like, what does success look like for this group? It's really asking that question first, and then landing on like, okay, if this is the contractual relationships that we're going to have, now we can all get aligned on how we fit in. You know, when you're selling a proprietary product like this at this level, like many times it's in a design assist fashion, right? You have a design group that they need your information to put into their information, and it's likely got to go through a competitive bidding cycle, or we have to present it in a way that allows for a competitive bidding cycle to occur. You know, and those specs are written like basis of design, airpat, you know, and they would leave it open for an adjacent product, you know, or equal, so to speak. And that really, having that relationship on the front end to help influence and steer that information as it's coming together really is where we want to position ourselves, right? Obviously, if we can get direct to the owner and sell them on the value of the product and sell them on the value of Motz delivering that product, and all the aftercare and service that comes with that we bring to the table, that's really what we're aiming to do. If the owner has relationships with adjacent CMs or folks they want involved, okay, like then that's where we're going to play the game. Let's get to know who they are, and let's work together. Like, this is a collaborative effort, right? Like, we all have the same goal. Like, we're in business to make money, but we're also in business to build these things for our end users, right? And so it's understanding the relationships and really embracing that, you know?
Tell me this now, there's a question. When you put down a new pitch and you're watching them playing on it, is your heart in your mouth if, like, God forbid, a sod would just like turn over or something like that?
100%. So Gareth, there's been instances where like we've stripped the field, they erected a concert stage and had a concert, busted down on Sunday morning, and then we rebuild the field and they're playing on it 4 days later.
Wow.
And those are the scenarios where that first game, like,
yeah, you know what's going to happen?
Yeah, what's going to happen?
They haven't even trained on it or nothing.
Nope. It's like it's been sod on plastic, little thicker cut sod. You put it down and then it gets watered really well, and then you put a Major League Soccer team out on the field. And
wow.
It's like, yeah, in those scenarios, pit of the stomach is a little tight.
Big time. But you're confident in your product.
No,
yeah. Love it. Ben, this has been brilliant, really interesting. I mean, we love getting the specialty trades on because, I mean, well, first of all, their general contractors are nothing without their specialty trades, so it's important that they get a voice.
Yeah, I mean, we try as best we can to be a quality trade partner. You know, there's the pre-con world is, and I'm sure it's been said on here before, you know, pre-con versus free-con, right? And when you're a specialty contractor supporting a lot of the work that the CMs are doing, like, there's some of that you have to do for free, but in that, like, you're presenting your value, like, you have opportunity to sell your value through that process, and those things all they flush out in the end.
Big time, always does, and that's why you've got to pick your contractor, your end user, and your specialty contractor with that in mind. Ben, if there's anybody listening to this now and they're thinking, you know what, we've got a project coming up, we would like to speak to Motz, where's the best place to get you?
Would probably be directly through my email address. So it's bneff@themotzgroup.com. I'm sure you'll share it out in the notes, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, reach out to our office. I'm pretty easy to find. LinkedIn's another option as well. Happy to help anyone out there that's in this space that needs support. We're here to help you move the needle.
Love it. So there you have it, folks. Ben's information will be down in the show notes below. Motz's email address, Ben's LinkedIn profile, and the website as well. Ben, it's been a pleasure.
Gareth, thank you so much.